Before I start, I know a good handful of you are coming from one of two major places. Either you're here because you saw the DMC collab happening on May 22nd in China, and in around 3 or maybe 4 months for global. So you're wanting to get these two hotties, Dante and Virgil, with Dante being free. The other place you're coming from is most likely from Wuthering Waves because some of the PGR veterans have found your channel and are now furiously posting for you to react or watch the PVs, the trailers, the combat showcases like Alpha Crimson Wee versus the Twins, listen to Peak Music or Panini Grey Ravens, or just to generally start playing PGR. Here's what this video is here for, to give you a base level of expectation so you're not coming into another gacha with too skewed a viewpoint, whether that is hype or not. It's also to point you into the direction of other creators and resources in this space who will massively help you if you continue to play and genuinely want this game to be in your arsenal of depression avoiding copes. If you're wanting a guide that's for beginners, a creator by the name of Mimicsouls recently made a video for the rundown of actual in-game things like the combat basics, the team building, gacha system explanations, and more. I think this will generally cover what you need to know function-wise, as PGR doesn't have the most intuitive tutorial or explanation systems. In any case, what should the expectations be if you're starting out in PGR? They should be good, with the knowledge that it does and will get better, as many things do. The reason I say this is because people will be given false impressions of this game as they start out. This is based on seeing the late game or highly choreographed things that are also highly practiced, which are very difficult to do, by the way. You will not be starting out fighting the twins or doing some of the cool stuff that you may see other creators and players post. But the great thing is that you will have those moments which make them seem obtainable as you master the combat and get used to things. So my best advice for starting this game is in part a mindset thing. Come in excited for a new thing while also being known that the beginning is a bit rough. It has improved a bit from the early days by adding in the FOS helper mentor system and a better integrated tutorial at the beginning. But you have a lot of content, and I mean a lot. Some of that content may be challenging for some to get through because of the slower pace at the start. Pair that with the absolute flood of information, paired with a unique battle system you need to get used to, and you portaling out of the womb like out of Nero's garage, it's the typical start of getting all the menus and tutorial stuff out of the way and just learning the muscle memories again. Things will definitely smooth out much like any other gaming experience. That goes for both the combat system and the story. The combat, by the way, isn't clunky by how I'm speaking of it. It's very smooth and it'll only feel clunky because, again, it's a new thing and you'll need to adjust your play settings when starting. Which, by the way, if you press Y, you can switch between camera movement modes like this. Default is having your mouse act as a finger to hit orbs and the buttons, as well as to swipe across to move the camera. By pressing Y, you swap to a more natural PC setting where your mouse moves the camera and your buttons act as attack and dodge. This game has been out for a while too, so that means story-wise you can just get deep in there with your fingers and hit the lore and story G-spot too if you're interested. All I would ask as a PGR veteran is that you keep yourself open and also have some patience. As I just mentioned the combat system too, I need to talk about it because it's what you're going to be toying around with the most, and it's probably the thing you'll care most about, since this is a combat-centric game. The expectation for this area is that you can do some really cool stuff with it. As I said, people choreograph and practice the fights for style, or just skill showcases since some of the fights can get pretty difficult. But at the core of it, it's a gacha team-based game that centers around rotations between characters. It's single element focused and homogenized in this way too, discouraging the general mixing of character types. Meaning, you wouldn't want to have one fire, one dark, and one physical in a team. Your main team building aspect is, for example, this: all fire, one attacker, one tank, and one healer or amplifier. In this aspect, it's relatively one-dimensional and a single focused goal, with the complexities being garnered to each of the characters having specific ways to play their kit effectively. Every character utilizes the ping system in different ways, and each character feels and plays differently. As this is a gacha game, there's a system of power that you will feel between characters. For example, Lee Hyperreal is a very strong attacker for the fire element, but he recently has gotten more or less replaced by Lucia Pyro for the same role and team. Similarly, the beginnings will vary in difficulty as a result of the gacha system too, making some fights more trivial because of the sheer power difference. Generally speaking though, while this is an awesome action game, getting to the crazier and more difficult parts like the high-scoring Pain Cage, Norman, Babel, or even Clash Reflections will take a bit of time, and that is when you'll start to feel that gacha-coded kind of feeling creep in. But some of these fights are just sheer awesome and badass, and PGR gives you that staple feeling of literally being in a sick-ass anime battle. I don't think any other game comes close to this except for their other game, Wuthering Waves. As for the resource and creator side to help you along, some may overlap, but that may help you in different ways. This is all in reference to finding them here on YouTube, by the way. I want to start with the lesser seen aspects, which are the lore and story related people. Trailblazer Ririna is a relatively newer PGR player that is going through the story at the moment. She does playthroughs of it, but also has been doing cute little quizzes and also little lore videos based on what she sort of knows at the time. It makes for an interesting time since it's not often you'll find someone doing what she's doing. If you want to experience someone actually interested in the story side of PGR, then Ririna would be your girl. Carefreedot is another lore and story creator who has been making videos going chapter by chapter on, well, the chapters of PGR's story. They're up to chapter 26, Cradle Parade, so it's not up to date with where we are yet, but you may want to keep your eyes here if you end up wanting either recaps or just another way to get story info, like you story skippers. Next is where creators overlap a lot since many hit these same areas: guides, information, considerations, and stuff related to that. Now, you may not want to discount them though just because they all give relatively similar information in areas. Some may edit or give better examples or explanations which may help you more than other guide videos, so they are not without their merits too. As I said previously, Mimicsouls made his guide for the 2025 PGR stuff, but he also has other stuff too, like info for upcoming patches or elite breakdowns, which are important to know if you want to know how to better play, or even want to leap and spend resources on those characters at all. Spider2B and Rexlent are the resident character guide and rotation video makers, with Spider2B being more in-depth than Rexlent as of recent, but they both provide great information and are worth knowing about. Next up are Lina and Ivy of Grey Raven Radio, and you may know them too from Rate Up Radio if you come from Wuthering Waves. They make good videos too that convey information well and relatively quickly too. They ask pertinent questions on things like characters to pull, layout of patches, and a lot more. Like, a lot. In fact, so much that they are also the people managing the site greyravens.com, and that is basically your one-stop shop for almost anything PGR related, from character guides and recommendations, team building options, game modes, timeline for future and past patches of characters, summaries of stories. The site is an invaluable one to both new and old commandants. Also, by the way, happy belated birthday, Ivy. I hope you had a good one. The last one that I want to point to is Tomi Vasius, who has been here for a long while. Tomi is a great one to look at if you're wanting examples and showcases for endgame modes like Warzone, or low versus high investment teams, or maybe the new SFX codings you may want. For me, his Warzone comparisons and showcases of teams are great because you can get more tangible looks at power level performances from one past meta character like Rosetta for example, to a more updated one like Han Ying Solace Tune. Overall, I'd say to not be so bought into the sometimes overselling that PGR veterans will do with the game. It's a fantastic action game overall and worthy of the hype it brings, but it's so easy to see that hype and have it be burned down due to the context of how the game starts and also operates. That being said though, don't also buy into the opposite sentiment that it's total gooch-lint because they couldn't make it past the relatively small hump of learning something that's a little bit different and also a little slower at the beginning phases. But tell me if you're coming from Wuthering Waves, brand new because of DMC, or have been playing. I hope that these creators can help you out as you start as a fresh-faced Commandant.